Hello! Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Those of you who don't know me, I am Milk. This is Milk Astrology. We're going over the complete astrology for December based on everyone's rising sign. The truth for this being, usually I write horoscopes for every full moon, every new moon, every time a planet usually goes retrograde. I write individual horoscopes for each rising sign for each event. However, December 2024 has 5 different events. And yes, I have soy sauce on this, don't judge me. Okay, so for December 1st, there is a new moon in Sagittarius. Then December 6th, Mars goes retrograde in Leo for about a month before it later goes retrograde in Cancer. And then the full moon in Gemini will be on December 15th. The full moon, by the way, will be void, of course, other than if you are a modern astrologer, you would say it squares Neptune, but it's essentially void, of course. It's not really making any aspect. New moon, however, so there's going to be a trine to the North Node, a trine to Mars, opposite Jupiter, and a square to Saturn. So it's going to be like very purposeful or making uncomfortable strides towards your goals, but it's going to feel very uneasy. However, I think you're going to be feeling like very motivated or ambitious to move towards set goals. Then there's going to be a new moon in Capricorn at the end of the month, which is, new moon, yeah, in Capricorn, which is literally also void. In my personal opinion, I feel like the new moon in Sagittarius and Mars going retrograde is the most notable or interesting thing about December astrology. However, I'm going to go through all 12 signs and tell you what each horoscope for each event means for you. So the new moon in Sagittarius is December 1st. It's going to be trine the North Node, trine Mars, opposite Jupiter, and square Saturn. An inclination to spend or be impulsive is high. Feeling frustrated with where you're at in life or where your current goals are versus where you are, feeling not aligned, could be at an all-time high. Doing something that makes you feel uncomfortable but could be worth it or like good for your like overall goals or interests, also something to really think about during this time. And trine to Mars, you're going to be more prone to go after this said uncomfortable goal or putting yourself out there even if it feels frustrating, and it may be good for you to do so. Mars retrograde Leo on December 6th until until January 15th. No, that's not right. Until January like 20 something. I don't know the date, but I just know in January it goes from Leo to Cancer, and it will still be retrograde until February. So with that being said, the Mars retrograde is the planet of aggression, motivation, ambition, going retrograde. We are going inward. So there's going to be a decline in feeling ambitious or motivated at all for the next 2 months. In Leo specifically, this month, it's going to be in your house of Leo. So where that means for you in your chart, I'm going to tell you later. But it's going to be a little bit more frustrating. People are going to be a little bit more short-fused or impatient, and sleepy and lazy and lethargic. Like those are all things that could be wrapped up into this. And then the full moon in Gemini on December 15th, it's basically void, of course. It's making a square to Neptune, so modern astrologers could theorize that it's like a hazy, confusing, delusional transit. In my opinion, I just feel like everyone's going to be annoying, annoyed, sleepy, lazy, or sluggish. That's like it. I don't really feel like it's that impactful. I don't really feel like it's that notable. That's just my opinion. The new moon on Capricorn on December 30th will be basically void, apart from the conjunction to Sun, which is literally what a new moon is. Basically void, but it could be quite pleasant, just kind of also sleepy or hazy. I would call both the full moon Gemini and the new moon in Capricorn sleepy or hazy. However, it could be pleasant vibes, just doesn't seem that eventful or notable in my opinion. So yeah, so in my opinion, I'm more interested in the first 2 transits and how they impact you. And so Aries risings, you will have the new moon in Sagittarius in your 9th house. And I feel like this is going to be a very purposeful transit, more significant than like a standard new moon, where you're not feeling that great about knowledge that you have about a certain subject. So you could be motivated to go back to school or sign up for a course, or maybe you are feeling inspired to or restless to change your zip code, change where you live. You could be moving. You could also just be not moving, wanting to like book a vacation. Yeah, and I also feel like something that you decide to do based on the new moon in Sagittarius is going to to like help you or be, since it's aligned with the North Node, I feel like it's going to be very purposeful towards a more long-term goal. So there's a little bit more significance to like the actions that you take this new moon versus any just standard new moon. And then Mars will be retrograde in your 5th house of marriage, fertility, sex, passion, joy, hobbies, creativity. Did I say marriage? Romantic life. So you could be revising who you have a partnership with. If you feel happy with your partnership romantically, you could be reassessing or having conversations with a partner about like if you guys want to get married or don't want to get married, if you guys want to have kids or don't want to have kids. There could be things like that. And you're also revising a hobby or an interest right now, and you're making more time for maybe starting a new hobby. Because it's going to be a retrograde period and it's Mars, you could be feeling like a lot of your energy or drive is a little limited. You could be feeling like you're not that fascinated or interested in certain things that used to do it for you. So like, for example, you could just be not interested in your partner or want to adjust your relationship status during this time. You could also be feeling like certain hobbies that you used to really care about, you just fell out of concern with, and you just no longer feel inspired. So this could lead you to like needing to readjust goals or personal life or personal interests. I do feel like this Mars retrograde in your 5th house is going to be more impactful for you specifically because you need to clean up or fix something around people or things that you love. And I think you also need to acknowledge that there are certain things about both areas that maybe you are no longer feeling that passionate or inspired by in the first place. However, this could also be helpful for leaving this Mars retrograde period in the 5th house, having a stronger understanding of like who is truly meaningful to you and like what hobbies truly inspire you. And I think like when you declutter your life or like free up certain areas, you'll have more energy towards new areas. And then the full moon in Gemini will be in your 3rd house. In my opinion, I think this transit is a little boring and not notable. There's really not much to say about it. It's going to be in your 3rd house of communication, short travel, technology, but it's void, of course. So in my opinion, it's going to be a very sleepy day. It's going to be a very work could drag out, the day could drag out. It could feel like trivial errands or chores that you have just feel stretched out or unnecessary. Specifically, conversations with people is going to feel a little bit more strenuous. So this could be a great day for you to like rest, hermit, not be super social. I don't want to say avoid driving, but this is also in your house of like short travel or like cars. So maybe you have like a car repair, I don't know, something around like a chore with your car. That could also be a thing. And then I don't know why I said full moon. The new moon in Capricorn will be in your 10th house. So I feel like the most important transit of the month, in my opinion, is the new moon in Sagittarius. I feel like you're taking time to learn a new skill, whether that's for a career focus or whether that's for a personal interest, so that by the end of the month, when you have the new moon in Capricorn in your 10th house, you're starting a new project at work that you're excited about, you're starting something new with your job, or you're starting a new goal to move towards a certain career path that you feel more aligned with. So you could just be feeling like you have a clear understanding of like what goals you want for your career going into 2025. And in some ways it could be like, usually new moons are like fruitful or bring in like some kind of positive good fortune or good news. However, in my opinion, I just feel like this transit is not really that eventful. So I feel like it's gonna be you making plans for a new career goal, but it's not gonna be as impactful, in my opinion, as the new moon in Sagittarius. So yeah, starting something new with your career, but not as notable as your 9th house activity or your 5th house activity. So Taurus risings, you're gonna have the new moon in Sagittarius in your 8th house. So you could be making a huge change around signing a contract, taking out a loan. You could be potentially launching or starting a new business, going into business with someone, or you could be adjusting like what role people play in your life and like how much money or input they add to your life. So this could be like boundaries being severed. In my opinion, the new moon in Sagittarius is the most notable transit in December, apart from Mars going retrograde, because the full moon and new moon later in the month are just not that aspected, so not much is going on with them. However, I feel like because the new moon is going to be in Sagittarius is trine to North Node, I feel like there's going to be a bit of, you have to make a change surrounding your 8th house of debt, exchange, contracts, and occultism, but I also feel like you're going to feel energetic to do so. This could also end up being like you having more assets, more financial abundance. more luck financially in some regard. This could also show up as like paying off a credit card debt as well, needing to clean up your expenses around debt specifically. The Mars retrograde in the 4th house is going to be a huge reassessment period around your home. You could have delays around if you were hoping to move. You could feel like that the deadline or the goal of when you move is a little bit stilted or extended. You could be noting some issues around who you live with. So like wanting to reassess or reaffirm certain boundaries with the people in your life or with family. You could find yourself, I don't know, more short-fused or more argumentative with family dynamics. But I also feel like this could be a great time to reassess like if you feel nurtured or comforted in your home environment, or if it's time to potentially change your home environment. You could be thinking about starting a lease somewhere else or changing just where you live. You could be redecorating as well. This could also be a huge thing. And then full moon in Gemini in your 2nd house, so there could be a bit of financial loss or there could be a lot of financial activity. So if not lost, it could just feel like thought you would have a certain amount, but then maybe you don't. In my opinion, I don't feel like this transit is that eventful, so it could just be like you feeling like needing to readjust something around your spending or limit interactions with certain people. The vibe could feel a little like delayed or stagnant. You could feel like you just have some confusion around your relationships or your finances. Or excuse me, the new moon in Capricorn in your 9th house is going to pertain to certain delays or blockages around information that you're trying to receive. Like maybe your friend leaves you on red when they texted you insinuating they have some information about something, or maybe there is a delay around an assignment getting back to you or your grades being given back to you. It could also just feel like a funkier transit for your understanding specifically around your education, or it could be a funky transit around physical environments. It could just feel like a hazy or sleepy day. Not necessarily unpleasant, but just kind of like not the most eventful in my opinion. The biggest themes in December will be readjusting your finances, specifically debt or credit card usage, readjusting the role people have in your life, but then also readjusting dynamics around your home, your living space, and ultimately if you feel nurtured by the people you live with or the environment that you're in. Gemini risings, you have the new moon in Sagittarius in your 7th house, and then you're gonna have, so the new moon in Sagittarius in your 7th house is really interesting with the trine to north node, because I feel like you're going to be having some frustrations around dynamics with relationships, but you're also gonna be having some pretty good breakthroughs too around like who you connect with, who you align with, being able to convey certain points to people. Maybe it doesn't go well with everyone, but the people that it does go well with, I think you kind of navigate to or learn like who your real friends are in a way. Maybe not as dramatic as I'm making it out to be too, but it could be like relationship opportunities, relationship success, or just feeling like you're more aligned with the people that you surround yourself with. It could also be a great time, I would say, to meet new people too, or the people that are coming into your life around this time could be really interesting or notable later on. And then Mars retrograde 3rd house, so issues with social media, issues with your technology in general, issues with your car are more prone to happen. I would say to back up everything, save everything, double draft everything, and you could potentially have some like misunderstandings with people via your cell phone or with people online, and it could feel a little bit like frustrating to try to talk to people right now, especially because the 3rd house is literal speech. So it could feel like you're speaking one language and everyone else is speaking another. And this transit, it stays in your 3rd house for a month before it goes into your 2nd house. But yeah, I feel like for the most part in December, it's just gonna be blockages and delays, and like maybe you have to get your oil change or you have to fix something with your car. It's just gonna be like strenuous everyday stuff being dragged out a bit more. And then the full moon in Gemini will be in your 1st house. I don't really feel like it's the most eventful full moon. However, someone could say it's also not the most negative full moon. So it could just be a great day for adjusting something around either your appearance or your sense of self, maybe asserting a boundary that you feel passionate about. Again, I don't really think that this full moon is that eventful. I feel like if anything, people are gonna be feeling a little lackadaisical or hazy in judgment. So I would probably maybe caution, like, don't hold off on like physical beauty adjustments based on how you're feeling that day, because it might not feel the same the next day, if that makes sense. And the Capricorn new moon will be in your 8th house. So this could be a new opportunity around a business venture, maybe new clients coming to you. It could be great for signing a lease or a contract, or even cleaning up your spending habits, like paying off your credit cards early or getting your Christmas shopping done early. So it almost feels like there's like a debt alleviation potential in that. So for Cancer risings, you have the new moon in Sagittarius in your 6th house. So there could be like a huge goal or a huge change in your overall health that inspires you to get more into physical activity or clean up what you eat in a day, like have healthier whole foods. This could also just be a great time to consider journaling or therapy. It's not just mental health, but physical health that you're kind of focused on. Specifically, maybe around your gut health. Something around this day could inspire you to change or implement new things into your routine that are helpful to your overall gut wellness. Mars retrograde in the 2nd house will be delays around your spending and who you invest importance and value into. This could be a funky month for you financially and with relationship dynamics, because you're feeling a little bit confused or easily frustrated. You could feel like you were promised certain bonuses or expecting certain paychecks that just fell through or just didn't work out. And you could also be feeling like certain relationships that you really care about, maybe you're feeling a little bit like they're very busy, you're preoccupied with something. So just a lot of funky energy around, again, finances and your emotional attachments to people. But I do think this will be temporary, because in a month it'll go to your 1st house and leave this 2nd house of your finances. The full moon in Gemini will be in your 1st house, excuse me, your 12th house. So it'll be in your 12th house. So themes again around your mental health. You could be adjusting something around addiction or certain habits that aren't healthy for you. You could be like lowering or cutting out alcohol. You could be lowering or cutting out drug use. And you could also be lowering or cutting out frenemies or weird friendships that just don't like ring hollow, or they don't feel that genuine or supportive of you. Again, it's not the most eventful full moon, so I feel like you're just going to be very sleepy, hazy, wanting to rest, wanting to not be very communicative with people, and not the worst day to bed rot, to be honest. And then the Capricorn new moon will be in your 7th house, so you're going to be maybe adjusting something around your social situations. You could be going to a party, a work party. You could just be going to a lot of events, which makes sense because the Capricorn new moon is literally on December 30th, which is like what, a day or two before, no, literally a day before New Year's Eve. So it's probably like New Year's Eve week, New Year's Eve weekend plans. You're just really preoccupied or focused on that. So ultimately, it doesn't feel like you're gonna have the most ideal financial development in December, but it also seems like you're going to have a pretty standard or decent social life, and you're going to be doing some things more that align with you internally. Leo risings, you have the new moon in Sagittarius in your 5th house of marriage, sex, fertility, passions, hobbies, and art. In some ways, you could be either starting a more intense or serious relationship with a partner. You could be talking about plans for the future. So yeah, you could be starting a new romantic situation. You could be getting engaged. You could be talking about having kids, or you could be launching a artistic project that eventually ends up being a business venture. So lots of themes around like creativity, feeling inspired, and also feeling very passionate. And then Mars will go retrograde in your 1st house on December 6th, and you're gonna be you're gonna be feeling a little frustrated with your appearance. I'm not gonna lie. You're also gonna be feeling a little frustrated with how you feel people are taking what you're trying to say to them. It could feel like your words feel a little twisted, or people are like willfully misunderstanding you. And I think like a huge thing that you're gonna have to embrace during this time is like letting people misunderstand you, like letting people just be wrong about you, like being okay with being misunderstood or being the villain. I don't think it's gonna be as dramatic as I'm probably making it sound, but I do think that it's gonna be a huge theme around not feeling your best or having a lot of revelations that later encourage you to readjust your entire approach moving forward, specifically around how you go after things, how people talk to you, how you interact with people or engage with people, but also how you present yourself and how you feel about yourself. So those are all like heavy themes that are sitting there throughout December into January. Then the full moon in Gemini takes place on December 15th, and it is essentially void, but it's gonna be in your 12th house. Wait, it's gonna be in your 11th house. So I feel like you may be feeling a little bit frustrated, or feel like there's some delays around your interactions with, maybe like you're trying to grow social media and you feel like it's not growing fast enough, or you're trying to have interactions with friends but they feel a little bit like miscommunications are more prevalent. In my opinion, I don't think it's the most aspected transit, so I predict that a lot of people aren't even going to really notice much about it. Maybe like minor nuances or minor annoyances throughout the day, but I don't think it's going to be anything like super intense. I feel like people are going to be feeling the Mars retrograde and then the new moon in Sagittarius a lot more. So yeah, so like general loose themes around your 11th house, like your friendships, your socialism, like activism, your social activities, how you engage with social media. But I don't think it's going to be, I feel like the vibes are hazy. The vibes are just sleepy and hazy, and if anything, not wanting to text your friends back. And then the Capricorn new moon will be in your 6th house, so I think you could be inspired to try to heal your gut health or try to be more physically active. Maybe you're trying to clean up your what you eat and eat more like fruits and vegetables. But I do feel like the focus will be like wanting to move your body more. So I feel like this kind of goes on into the fact that this is like New Year's, the day before New Year's Eve. So it gives like very like new year, new goals, or like new fitness goals, which I feel is very on brand for New Year's Eve. Virgo risings, you will have the new moon in Sagittarius in your 4th house. So I think this new moon is probably one of the most eventful transits this month, because it'll be on December 1st, and it'll be impacting themes around your family, your home, and where you live or how you feel nurtured by your home environment. So for some people that could look a lot like thinking about moving out, thinking about signing a new lease, thinking about selling your house, buying a house. It could also mean like changing who you live with if you feel like certain people and you are just not getting along. This could also be a new moon where like you're having big heart-to-hearts or breakthroughs with family members or family dynamics. So situations with the people in your life that you care the most about. I do think that this new moon's a little bit funky. Like there's a lot of tension around it. There's a lot of like, and like a lot of uncomfortability. So like having uncomfortable conversations. But I also feel like, what was it? The trine to Mars is like, these are things that are uncomfortable, but they're very necessary and I need them to happen. So I don't think it's necessarily like the worst new moon. I just think that it's one that you're meant to be uncomfortable because you're meant to grow and change something about this area of your life. And I think that's like ultimately the goal. And then Mars retrograde in the 12th house. Mars retrograde happens on December 6th, and then it'll be here for a month before it goes into your 5th house. So it'll be in your 12th house of illness, addiction, mental health, hidden enemies, and rest. In all honesty, I feel like this is going to be a time that is most important for you to be patient with yourself. Take breaks if you need to, like decompress, spend time recharging, spend time bed rotting, spend time like not being so active. I feel like the more active you are, the more fatigued you're gonna feel. But this is also a great time to reassess certain habits or addictions in your life, or certain people who you feel like they're just very voyeuristic in your life. You don't feel like the bond or the connection is that meaningful. So I would definitely recommend considering changing who has access to you ultimately. Then you have the full moon in Gemini in your 10th house. So I think this full moon is a little uneventful. I don't really think there's much to note about it. It's not making any aspects apart from a square to Neptune, which is an outer planet, and I don't feel like it's that significant. So December 15th, it's gonna be you having some annoyances with work, or wanting to adjust or have a conversation with your boss about something pertaining to your job. But in my opinion, I don't think it's going to be the most eventful. It's just going to be like an annoying, sleepy day. Like there could be some delays with work, people slacking off. I feel like that's like ultimately the vibe. And then the Capricorn new moon will be in your 5th house. So the 5th house is marriage, sex, romance, passion, art, creative hobbies, and interests, as well as fertility. Some people could be getting engaged. Some people could be talking about more serious topics with their partner, about long-term goals. And some of you are really inspired to create a project or start a new niche interest that could potentially segue into your career. So I think this is a really great time for you to be experimental and curious, and I think that's something really great is going to come from allowing yourself to kind of dabble in art or interests. Also not a bad time romantically if you are trying to date or romantically involved with someone. Libra risings, you have the new moon in Sagittarius in your 3rd house. So you could be buying a car. You could be having something adjust with your car. You could be also growing on social media. Something could go viral. You could also be noting that something that you want is no longer working, so it's time to go into a new direction, and it could feel uncomfortable and unfamiliar, but it could be good for you, specifically in themes around interactions with others, social media, cars, and technology. So you could be having some like harder conversations with loved ones, but it could also lead to like helpful breakthroughs and growth in your relationships. And you could also be branching out and starting something online that feels really uncomfortable for you. Like you could feel like it's cringy to share your YouTube link to all your friends on Facebook or Instagram, but then maybe it won't be that cringy when it becomes your full-time job. Mars will go retrograde in your 11th house on the 6th. So lots of frustration around social media, lots of frustration around friendships or activism. It could feel like you're constantly in these debates with people, or you feel like you're like the only one that cares about a topic that you want other people to care about. In my opinion, I feel like this is the best time to close out of your social media apps. I feel like this is also not the best time to be super active within your friend group chats or like hang out with friends a lot. I'm not saying to ignore all your friends the whole time, but I do feel like there's gonna be more frustration around these areas and you're gonna be more short-fused. So just like getting a hold of it before it gets out of hand is like helpful. Your full moon, the full moon in Gemini on December 15th will be in your 9th house. I don't really think this is a very impactful transit. So if anything, it's just gonna be like, if you are flying somewhere around this time, you could have delays in your flight. And you could be thinking about booking a trip somewhere. You could be thinking about going back to school. You could be annoyed with school if you're in school. And it could just feel like a frustrating, annoying transit. That's the only way that I can think of it. Everyone's a little bit lazy, sleepy, wanting to be cozy, but also very short-fused. And that's just kind of, that's how I envision this transit. The Capricorn new moon on December 30th will be in your 4th house. So the December 30th new moon to me is like very much giving New Year's Eve vibes. I feel like you're just gonna be like wanting to make plans for buying property, moving, changing who you live with, wanting to redecorate your living space, or you could be talking about having a family, starting a family in the upcoming year, like making goals around those themes. So these could all just be like things on your mind going into New Year's Eve or just around this new moon in Capricorn. So like wanting to take action around elements specifically in these areas. Now, this new moon is also almost void, of course. So it's really not the most impactful transit. It's just maybe like you're gonna feel very pleasant and also sleepy. that's what I think. Scorpio risings. The new moon in Sagittarius will be in your 2nd house. So you could be actually most likely to profess undying love to someone, but it could go very well. It could be very uncomfortable though. You could also feel like your finances are doing well, or maybe you take a risk surrounding your finances and it pays off. Yeah, I feel like this could be a great time to do something with stocks, but don't quote me because I literally don't know anything about that. Mars retrograde in your 10th house on the 6th. So I feel like this is going to be a very annoying transit for your career or for your professional goals in life. You could feel like there's a lot of stagnation around the progress you were hoping to see. And you could just feel very frustrated with like your employers, your colleagues. I would say like this is not the easiest time for you at work. However, this could also be a great time to slow down and reassess your career goals or how you approach certain things at work, so that maybe like when you leave this, or when Mars goes retrograde in your 9th house, you'll feel like you gained a lot of insight around how to do things differently relating to your career. The full moon in Gemini will be in your 8th house. In my opinion, I think it's a very like uneventful transit, but I do feel like because it's in the house of debt, you could be more prone to like overspend or have buyer's remorse regarding how much you've spent recently. So I do think being patient or being careful about like taking out loans, accruing debt, or like putting a lot on credit cards could be a theme. People could also be like going out of their way to like let you know they've been thinking about you or that you've been on their mind. It could be a little draining. This might be a good like full moon for putting up a boundary around people if you feel like you're energetically zapped. And I would caution against overspending or spending if you can help it. Then there will be a new moon in Capricorn in the 3rd house. So I feel like because this is on December 30th, you're going to be thinking about like maybe you want to buy a new car, maybe you have a social media goal, maybe you want to change something about how you use social media, or maybe you want to go into the new year with goals to be more social in general. Maybe you felt like you were very introverted in 2024, and in 2025 your goal is like to be more ambitious or initiate more conversations with people. And for Sagittarius risings, the new moon in Sagittarius will be in your 1st house. And this could be very purposeful around maybe you're changing something dramatically about your appearance. Maybe you're going after something or you're being more vocal with people, and it could feel really uncomfortable because maybe you're not used to like initiating harder conversations, but I also feel like you're gonna feel really happy with yourself that you did. I think you're gonna do something around this time that's going to feel uncomfortable, but it's also going to feel rewarding. You're gonna be glad that you went through this or that you shook out of a routine that was stagnant. And then Mars retrograde in the 9th house. So this could be a time of reassessing if you're in school, if you want to be in school, if you want to change your major. You could be reassessing where you live. You could be reassessing if it's time to book a trip. And I think you're also just gaining a lot of information lately. Mars retrograde in the 9th house could be like frustrations with new information that you're being given, delays in travel, delays in, I don't know, school could just feel really frustrating, or themes around philosophical goals or long form information could just feel very strange. It could just feel like you don't have a lot of answers right now, and that there's a lot of things being said, but everything feels very hazy and unclear. So I feel like in December it's really important to just be very patient and just kind of like let things unfold, let people tell on themselves, let things be revealed to you. And then the full moon will be in Gemini in your 7th house. So I feel like there could be, I don't know, some annoyances around communication with people today, or interactions could be awkward or just like unnecessarily annoying. It is like a void of course moon almost, so it's not that eventful in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be that notable, but I do feel like it's just going to be like an annoying or unnecessarily like hazy day. Weird conversations will occur for you. And then Capricorn new moon in the 2nd house on December 30th, and I think that you're ultimately going to be making new goals around your finances, or you could be going out of your way to like let someone know that you've really been thinking about them, or you miss them, or having a conversation with someone that you feel really good about. This is also the day before New Year's, like, so maybe your intention for the new year are new relationship goals or new friendship goals, and I think you're like really trying to make that happen. Again, this in my opinion is not the most eventful transit. I think the new moon in Sagittarius and the Mars retrograde are the most notable of the month for you. Capricorn risings, you have the new moon in the 12th house of Sagittarius on December 1st, and in my opinion I feel like this could be you quitting alcohol, quitting drugs, quitting some kind of addiction, or quitting a friendship that feels more like a frenemy, or feels like someone has like evil eye towards you, or just like bad intent towards you. You could be cutting someone out of your life. This could also just be an opportunity for you to prioritize more cozy like rest. Like maybe you've been on the go this holiday season, and this could be a great time to just like slow down a bit. The Mars retrograde in the 8th house will occur on December 6th, and in all honesty this is not the best time to put a lot on a credit card. This is not the best time to take out loans. This is a very good time to be very careful with accruing more debt, and if anything, working to minimize debt. It may feel like unexpected bills or things are just like coming at you, so knowing this now and then like saving for later may be very helpful. I would also say that people could be just really strangely projective towards you, like put a lot of weird issues onto you, or a lot of strange expectations. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Putting a lot of strange expectations on you that aren't really your problem to navigate in the first place. So just boundaries around communication could be incredibly helpful. There will be a full moon in Gemini in your 6th house of gut health, physical wellness, habits, daily routine on the 15th. And in my opinion, I feel like this transit is going to be not that eventful, so you could find yourself needing to, you could just be annoyed like with your gut health during this time, like maybe a little constipated on this day. This could be a great day for eating more leafy vegetables, going for a walk. You could be feeling a little short fused with your routine, like you could be feeling like people around you are just not making much sense. This could be a great day to, I don't know, to have like a mentally decompressing outlet, because you could just be feeling annoyed. It's just the overall vibe of this full moon. Capricorn risings, Capricorn new moon will be in your first house of how you assert yourself, how people view you, how you view yourself. You could be radically changing your hair up, changing your physical appearance. This could be a time where you're making very strong goals for yourself that you're wanting to work towards in the next year. And you could just be going after a new project and feeling very ambitious and motivated to do so. And you're ultimately just feeling very new year, new me, if anything. Not a bad time, by the way, to change something about your hair or change something about your appearance. But I will say the new moon is not that aspected, so it's not like that positively supported, but it's also not that negatively supported. It's kind of neither here nor there. So I wouldn't say it's bad if you do something impulsive, but it just may be an unpredictable outcome, or not the most like guaranteed positive outcome. It could be unpredictable. I don't know. Everything I just said about the 12th house Capricorn new moon, I meant for Aquarius risings. Aquarius risings, the new moon in Sagittarius will be in your 11th house. So this could be a great time for new social media goals. Maybe you're starting a new social media platform and you're nervous about it, or you're launching a YouTube. This could be a great time to make plans with friends or meet new friends, and you could be feeling very nervous or out of your element to like join a new club in your area or join a new event in your area, but you could also be very happy that you did. This will be, by the way, on the 1st, and then Mars retrograde will be in your 7th house on the 6th for a month. So frustrations and short fused feelings or communication around interactions with people that you care about. You could feel like your interactions are just very obscure and random. So it could be like interactions with people at the grocery store, interactions with your friends, interactions with your family. I would recommend this month to like limit how much social activity you have, just for your own mental health, and to like up some kind of decompressing outlet or hobby, because it could feel like people are just very erratic, or you could be feeling a little erratic. Like it could just feel like the vibes are. And then the full moon in Gemini will be in your 5th house. So maybe some annoyances or frustrations around a romantic interest, a personal passion or hobby. You could be feeling like something is just not aligning. You could even be feeling like it's time to change your hobby or change who is around you. The overall vibe is annoyance. It's not that eventful in my opinion. I don't think it's that much of a huge full moon to really be notable, but I do think it's one that's going to be like, I'm really annoyed with this hobby, I'm really annoyed with this person, and probably having some conversation around it. The Capricorn new moon will be in your 12th house. So, and then the Capricorn new moon, it will be in your 12th house on the 30th, and I think this will be a great time to like winter clean, spring clean your environment, rest, spend the day bed rotting, spend the day not doing anything, just like allowing yourself to have like a rest day, and having like maybe a time to journal or time to consider therapy. I don't know. This could be a very therapeutic day for just like relaxing and not doing too much, and you could be feeling like really refreshed and recharged as a result of having done so. And then the Capricorn new moon, it will be in your 12th house on the 30th, and I think this will be a great time to like winter clean, spring clean your environment, rest, spend the day bed rotting, spend the day not doing anything, just like allowing yourself to have like a rest day, and having like maybe a time to journal or time to consider therapy. I don't know. This could be a very therapeutic day for just like relaxing and not doing too much, and you could be feeling like really refreshed and recharged as a result of having done so. Okay, so Pisces risings, you guys will have the new moon in Sagittarius in your 10th house. You could have to have an uncomfortable conversation with your employer or with something around your job. You could have to quit a job or start a new job, something that just feels really uncomfortable for you, but you could be really, really grateful that you did it. So I think that this new moon isn't so much about staying in dead spaces just because you're used to them. It's about pushing yourself towards new things and feeling grateful that you gave yourself that push. Specifically for you around your reputation or career. So if it's not your career, it could just be like embracing being the villain, or embracing people having mixed opinions about you, like not going out of your way to constantly explain yourself to people, and being okay with yourself instead. Mars will be retrograde in your 6th house of gut health and physical activity, so you could be identifying that certain habits in your life are physically taking a toll on your wellness, not making you feel that good. Maybe you have like a lack of clarity, or you feel like mentally weighed down. This could be a great time to implement healthier hobbies or outlets like going for walks or journaling or therapy. Also, 6th house, in my opinion, is heavily focused on gut health, so this could be time to like regulate or try to heal your gut. And it could just feel very annoying. Also, be very careful of like certain things that you eat during this time, because like you could be more prone to having gut issues if you're not being mindful of what is healthy or good for you. And then the full moon in Gemini will be in your 4th house. So I feel like this is more of just like annoyances with home or family. I don't really feel like this is a huge like full moon that talks about breaking away from certain habits or moving or anything too dramatic. This full moon's not that aspected. So in my opinion, I feel like it's just more like hazy confusion and annoyance around your family dynamics, around your home life, around having maybe an inclination of what you want in the future or where you want to live in the future, but like not being too thorough or sure yet. It just feels like overwhelming. So limiting a lot of social contact may be helpful today, because just the vibe is annoyed. And then the Capricorn new moon in the 11th house will be in your, it will be on the 30th. So I think this will be a great new moon for being social, starting new projects, or even potentially like starting a YouTube channel or starting something with social media that could be very like viral or go very well for you. Again though, this Capricorn new moon is not that aspected or eventful in my opinion. It's also almost void. So I'm not that focused so much on the new moon in Capricorn or the full moon in Gemini. I feel like they're gonna be very like, maybe pleasant, the new moon in Capricorn, or annoying, the full moon in Gemini, but I don't feel like they're gonna be that pivotal as I do like Mars and being retrograde and then the new moon in Sagittarius, because the new moon in Sagittarius has way more going on. So I feel like we're gonna be all collectively noting it or feeling it way more than the other stuff. So yeah. But if you want a personal reading with me, don't forget to consider signing up to my Patreon. It's only $10 a month, and you can cancel anytime, and you can ask me a question each month that you're subscribed, or redeem a mini reading with me each month that you're subscribed.